Welcome back. Here we go. Another project today. Darren Stangdog here. So today's project, I've got my 89 GT. It's actually over in the paint shop right now. But before they are going to paint it, I'm setting up my fender spats. So I'm going to fix my fender spats. I've had this issue, I'm running 17-inch tires. So continuously get this little bit of rub here in the front because of the different openings. So these are actually OEM fenders. Original fenders of the car. I do not want to replace those. The aftermarket fenders have fitment and they're not quite as thick. The quality's not there, so I want to keep my original fenders. So that means I'm going to modify the very front edge of my fender. And really, if you're not aware, for those that aren't familiar, just to make it clear, the issue is, you can see these are OEM spats. You can see just enough, it kisses the front of the tire. It's annoying. You pull in the parking lots, you go lock to lock, and even if you put as many rack limiters as you want, it still kisses the front edge of the spat. So I'm going to fix this problem. So if you look at these, these are OEM style, or not style, but they're actually original. This is a 91, 93, and this is my original, for 70 or 87 to 89. And you can see there's just enough of shape there to give you plenty of clearance. So that's what we're going to solve today. So as I get going, I just want to make sure people are aware I am not a body guy. I would call this is a how I did it. This is not a how-to. If you want to follow this and it works for you, great. I just know that having thought through this, I think this is the easiest way for me to do it with the tools and things that I have. I don't have any crazy tools or anything that I'm doing this with. What I have done in prep for this is I took the smaller spat, I lined it up, and then I traced, as you can see here, with a Sharpie. I came down here so I know what I'm starting with as a guide. Now when you take the spats off the fender, it's actually really easy. It's just 3 bolts. And then of course, if it was on the car, you would have these screws and you would have the splash shield. Obviously the fenders are off the car. Obviously, it's a lot easier to do this while it is off the car, but you probably could do this with them still installed. Okay, now next step we're gonna do is, and I've already done this, is I've just mocked up on the side of the fender here. I'm just gonna move the camera here just to help you on the angle so it's obvious. All I've done is I came in here initially, I got this edge because the fender's curved, and then I came in here and I matched this up. So that way when I have my finished product, because I'm going to slice this so that I can fold them over. And when I fold them over, that's going to make them longer. So this is going to be my guide. So I'm just going to come down with the metal shear and just cut these so I have the right width and that shape down at the bottom. So basically it's going to look factory. And then I'll come back in here and I'll punch in the holes, or I'll actually drill out the holes to match up. So anyways, next step. I'm going to go ahead and start working on, maybe about every 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to take a Sawzall and I'm just going to space this out enough so I can fold over the metal. Okay, all I've done here is I took my Sawzall and about every 2 inches I came in. We'll see if I need to make some other relief cuts. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pliers, or in this case some channel locks. Remember, I'm getting the car painted, and I'm basically going to just start laying this thing over and basically getting this straightened out in enough way. So I'm going to straighten these tabs out now. So I'm just going to straighten these out a bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to lay it over. And I'm just going to go all the way down here and do that all the way down. Okay, so all I've done is gone down, pull these all out. Now, probably on the next fender, what I would do is I'm going to just take my angle grinder and just sand this all off. To be truthful, on the next one, I'm going to sand this all off before I bend these. But, because now what I'm going to do is the next step's going to be I'm going to bend these over. Because I'm going to be taking my welder and just basically tacking in these little slats. Now the shop's going to DA this whole fender. And then now I'm going to come in here, I'm going to tack all these up, grind them down. And then does the fender fit? The $1 million question. And our answer is a resounding yes. If you haven't taken these off before, this fender this spat does not ride over the front of the fender because this is where it's going to go to the bumper cover. So it's gonna line up here with the front. You see I got the holes in here already. And then at this point, all I need to do, once I get it all welded up, I'll come in here, I'll drill small holes so that when we bring the hardware in, it goes right to the shield, or right to the splash shield. All right, now that I've got everything lined up, and before I start tacking everything back together and cleaning it all up, I just took my little template, I laid it in here, as you can see. You can see my marker. I just took a marker and came in here and I just cleaned up this edge. Now I use a pair of metal shears. Guys, this is Harbor Freight. I think this is like 50 bucks, okay? And it just zips these off. It's a nice and clean edge. I still am gonna have to sand it and all that stuff. I'm not gonna get away from that. But a lot of guys, you're just gonna take your cutoff wheel. You can just zip these down. Anyways, that's how I did it. Now the next step is I'm gonna come in here. Oh, by the way, by chopping these down, it just limits the amount of space and things you gotta weld. So I just figured I'd cut these before I did this, make it a little cleaner. Anyways, next step is welding. Never claimed to be the best welder, but guess what? I have this guy in here, and the shop might actually take the grinder a little bit more to that. But what they'll do, you know, like I said, it isn't the prettiest, but it gets the job done. They'll clean this up, and then on the back side, they'll put seam sealer, clean up the back side. Give you guys a couple little tips if you've never had to deal with these spats before. So a common thing you'll see in a lot of Fox bodies is along this edge, won't be lined up. So one of the tricks on this is sometimes, remember, you're gonna have behind this lip, in between the spat and the fender, you're actually gonna have the shield. So that can basically warp or kick out this spat. So one of the tricks is on the back side of the fender where you have these mounting holes. Sometimes the limiter is basically one or the other, and you need to basically hog out that hole just a little bit, and then you can angle this fender. Because you got two things you got to deal with. Number one, you want it to be with this fender crease right here, and the other thing you want to do is along the front, because the other thing you'll see in a lot of Fox bodies is you'll see a gap. Now this gets sucked up right here when it attaches to the front to the bumper cover. But the challenge you're going to have is if you suck that in, now you end up with this end drooping down, and you see this a lot on Fox bodies. So anyways, I thought this would be an interesting one. I don't think I see many of these kind of videos out there. I know the splash shields, people have started converting, and restoring those. But this is a big upgrade, especially when you're going to bigger wheels. There's nothing more irritating than driving into a parking lot and you turn your wheels and people start looking at you because they hear something rubbing on your car. Okay guys, I hope this helps you out. Yet another project I got done, and car is in paint. I got a lot more content coming out. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.